So this will be my last podcast for 2021. And what I wanted to do on this podcast was just really give some reflections and some lessons that I learned from the shit show that is 2021, some insights and just what I've learned, kind of just taking a seat back and really seeing what's going on in the world. What I've learned from coaching and training other massage therapists, from my seminars, things like that, and really helping equip you with some ideas and some tools to help you recognize like what's going on in the world so you don't have to get sucked into all the bullshit that's going on out there. And then I also give some bold predictions of what I think 2022 is going to look like and how you can stand out, you can put yourself on a different level and really just become the best version of yourself, because the world needs more problem solvers. They need more people providing solutions. So this is what I found in 2021, and I hope you get something from it, and I hope you enjoy the show. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Soft Tissue Revolution podcast, where we teach massage therapists a new treatment method that focuses on working smarter, not harder, allowing them to make well over $100,000 per year with less than 20 hours per week in the clinic. No gimmicks, just results. Dr. Matt Maggio here. Let's get right into the podcast. Appreciate you guys that have been listening, downloading, sending messages, getting our free training, reaching out about courses in 2022, and really wanting to get on that journey to, become a true expert, a true problem solver, and take your clinic, your treatment, your mindset, all that shit to the next level in 2022. So this is my last podcast for the year. And I like to do these end of year reviews. I did one the last 2 years. Really make them just so I can go back and reflect on some shit that I've learned over the years, some lessons, some epiphanies, all sorts of stuff. And 2021 was full of lots of lessons and a whole lot of like wanting to pull my hair out and scream at people, wondering what the fuck's going on with the world, all that stuff. So I did a lot of reflection before this podcast and really wrote down, I had a bunch of shit that I wanted to talk to, but I don't want you to have to listen to me forever because, that can get boring too. And I'm very appreciative of your time, your most unrenewable resource, and giving me that means a lot. So let's get right into it. So I got 3 lessons from 2021. I thought 2020 was bad. Fuck. 2021 was a whole different level of absurdity, craziness, and all sorts of shit. And, I'm a big believer, and I talk about this all the time, is I follow the ancient philosophy called Stoicism. Most people, when they think Stoicism, just like, oh, he's very stoic. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't have emotions, doesn't have anything like that. It's not about that. The true caveat behind Stoicism is the idea that the only thing that's really in your control is your thoughts and actions. And that's simple, and that's it. So I came up with 3 lessons just from watching the shit show that was 2021 and being more of a observer, kind of sitting back a little bit. As I get older in my years, I'm a little more reflective, less quickly to want to jump to emotions and going crazy. In my younger years, I would have done that, but fuck, there's a lot of shit just going on. So number 1 lesson from 2021, get your personal life in order. Your health, your relationships, your mindset. In all honesty, get your personal life in order. And I've talked about this a lot in my podcast, and I coach and I mentor a lot of massage therapists all over the country in my system. And what we find so much is that, their personal life isn't in order, and it bleeds over into their business, or vice versa. Like maybe they're so focused just on their business and their personal life takes a back seat as well. But you got to control those things. They are the most important part of what you do, and your personal life reflects how you show up in your business. Are you always in chaos? Are you always out of time? Are you unhealthy? Are you miserable? Are you reactive? All sorts of shit. Like really make your own personal health, your own personal mindset, all that stuff your number 1 priority, because there's so many people out there that need your help. And if you're just in chaos all the time, shit just continues to hit the fan. You're too busy to get enough people in. You're working 7 days a week, all sorts of shit. Like that starts with how you prepare, how you execute, how you show up each day. In all honesty, another thing that I've really learned over this past probably 2 years, but really this year, is like, just stop being offended, and stop being offended for other people. This is what we're seeing all the time. Like people are offended for other people. Like people got their own problems, and you got your own problems too. Just kind of deal with that. A great book that I recommend. And if you haven't read it, it will definitely change your perspective on dealing with people, how to handle them. Looking at some of your own internal shit that goes on is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. That's my Spanish version of saying Ruiz. I can't really roll those R's. But that's a good book to go in there and really understand. Like, one of the big things is like, don't take shit personal. Don't make assumptions. Be impeccable with your word and always do your best. And I think when you start to look at it and you start to analyze it in that way, it really puts things in a different perspective. And the shit that you get so worked up about, you get so mad and you want to just scream at that person on social media and tell them what a fucking moron they are. Go back, slow down, and really think about that and how you want to show up. So that was number one, get your personal life in order. Number two, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. You know, I've talked about this so much, you know, massage therapists got shut down right away in 2020. They were told they were non-essential. They just took it. They went in there and were like, yep, that's it. And there's some states where they're going to try to pull this shit again. You know, like New York, California and stuff like that. They're trying to scare the fuck out of people with the virus and all that kind of stuff. Like, that ship has sailed, but nobody's coming to save your business. They're not coming to save you. Nobody gives a fuck about you, especially politicians and things like that. The only people that really care about you are in your inner circle. And you know what? People got their own problems too. So if you're always the person bringing problems to people looking for solutions, that's going to be counterproductive from where you want to go. Remember to be selfish. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be selfish. There's so many people that help me. But what I think is really selfish is when you don't take care of your own personal needs, your own health, your own wealth, your own business and things like that. And then you can't be there for other people. I talk about this mantra all the time. I call it lions eat first. Out in the wild, the lion who protects the pack and does everything, they have to eat first so that they can show up and help other people. And if you're just giving to everybody else and you're not having enough left in the tank, you can't show up and you can't do that. And that's just a never ending cycle. And that's a candle that you're burning at both ends. And before you know it, you're going to be really fucked. So get the idea of like being selfish about yourself so you can help more people. Number three, this one's really interesting, but recognizing our own innate human biases and really how they fuck with us. So probably the best book that I've ever read, I've probably read it like 15, 20 times now, is The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. It's a really big book. It's very in depth, but it really helps you like have an operating system and understand that innately as humans, we have these built-in biases, and there's 6 of them. And I'm going to list them off and actually talk about each one. First one is confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is basically, I'm going to look at any of the data out there and I'm going to skew it to fit my agenda, my training, everything like that. And we're all guilty of that. We look at stuff that helps us feel like we belong, like that we're on the right side of things. And you're seeing this a lot with the COVID shit, with vaccines, all that kind of stuff. Like, people are going to find data and they want to do that. There's some people that watch Fox News and they only do that. There's some people that only watch CNN. I don't watch any of the news, but if I did watch the news, I'd watch both to kind of see where it's at. And a lot of times we get stuck in this confirmation bias and we're not really willing to be open to other things and people doing things different. Number 2 is conviction bias. Conviction bias is like, I just believe in so highly of what I do that nothing else can matter. You see this a lot in like religion. I also see this in the field that I came from and what I learned in chiropractic. You know, they're like, hey, the adjustment just fixes everything. If you don't believe in the true power of the adjustment, like, get the fuck out of here. I question that. And you know how I've been about like the idea, like the adjustment doesn't really do shit. I'm a chiropractor that doesn't do any adjustments, only does soft tissue stuff. But conviction bias, like, regardless of the data and what I see, I believe in this so much. And you see this with charlatans, gurus, and things like that, where they're like, hey, my technique is the most amazing thing. This is all you need to do. Be aware of that. Next one is blame bias. So blame bias is like, you just blame everyone else for your problems. And this is what's going on in this world. We get into that victim culture and that victim mentality where it's everybody else's fault. It's the government. It's my client. It's my spouse. It's this. It's all this other shit. And we don't really take personal responsibility of what's going on. And we just want to blame everybody else instead of like really sitting down and being like, what am I doing to really contribute to this? Like, why is this fucked up? Why isn't this changing? Like, really examine when you start blaming shit, because that ain't going to get you anywhere. And victimhood isn't going to get you anywhere either. It's just going to keep you stuck where you're at. Number 4, appearance bias. We're very guilty of all this. You know, you like just look at something and you're like, oh, that person must be this way. You know, they might have tattoos, or they might be this or they might be that. And we're like, they're a certain way. And then we look at that and we judge them. You know, they always say, don't judge a book by its cover. And this really happens for a lot of people. One thing that I learned in a really good book called The 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson is always go into any situation with the idea that when you talk to somebody, they can teach you something different, something that you didn't know. But if you're just like, oh, well, that person just doesn't look like me, they're not like that, I can possibly learn from them. They just look like they're all disheveled and they couldn't have a clue. Like they're not great. Next one is number 5 is group bias. And this is really big out there. You know, group bias, the idea of the group bias is basically like when we're in a big group of people, like we just congregate together and we start to think the same way as we go. And this happens a lot. We get into these echo chambers and different things. And I see this a lot in musculoskeletal treatment, like certain factions, they're like, hey, this is what we do. And we all agree and we get around there. And then no one's really challenging the views of what we're doing. And we just all are like, hey, we all do this thing. So we must be the same. We must be doing something right. And you're not really looking out into the real world of what's going on. Last one is superiority bias. All right. Stumbled there. Superiority bias. So superiority bias, like we just think we're better than other people. I'm guilty of this. I'm sure you're guilty of this at all. We're like, hey, well, this person, you know, they're not great and they don't have a fucking clue what's going on. They're a moron. I'm just better at what I do. And these biases, they really mess with us and we don't realize that they're happening and they show up in all different ways. We become combative with people. We don't want to be around other people. We don't want to have our ideas challenged. We get really offended. We get bombastic and want to like fight with someone on the internet about stupid shit when everyone has this in there as well. And we don't really realize how these things are messing with us. And human nature hasn't changed. It's been the same. It's just recognizing it in a different way. So those are my 3 lessons from the year. I know they might not sound like in depth, but yeah, get your personal life in order. Nobody's coming to save you, and recognize when you're being biased and when other people are being biased, and make your decisions based off of that. Make your decisions based off data instead of emotions, because when you add emotions in there, you completely lose your frame, you completely lose your power, and you get stuck in a really bad place. So hopefully you'll learn something from that. Go get those books, 4 Agreements, Laws of Human Nature, and 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, and spend some time reading instead of scrolling through social media, watching another bullshit Netflix documentary. So I'm going to end this with my 2022. I can't believe we're already in 2022 predictions. I thought 2021 was pretty crazy. I think 2022 is going to be even crazier. I think it's going to be a shit show. I think the economy is going to hit some big problems with inflation, with all this money that we're printing, people not working. They're going to continue to bang the COVID drum and try to scare the fuck out of people. 2022 is an election year, all that kind of stuff. Like, there's going to be a lot of things out there that are going to fuck with you and put you in a bad place. One thing I can recommend is don't watch the news. Like, there ain't nothing good on the news, regardless of where you are. You'll be informed. If the world's going to end, somebody will tell you. But like, all that does is just really fuck with you. What you really need to do is focus on what's in your control. As I said before, it's your thoughts and your actions. That's it. Quit being offended by what other people say. Check your biases, all that shit. At the end of the day, what the world really needs right now is more problem solvers. People that solve problems. Like, anyone can say, hey, this issue's here and this needs to be here and you need to do this and this and this and this, but they don't have a fucking solution. So that doesn't help anybody when you're just like, hey, here's all the problems that we have, but you don't have a true solution. Become a problem solver. Become a solutions provider. I talk about this all the time. Don't get stuck in that service-based mentality of like, you're just going through selling your time for money. Solve people's problems. People need problems solved. And to do this, focus on solving a specific problem and get so goddamn good at that nobody can ignore you, and become the problem solver for a specific issue in your area. And you'll be amazed at where your income will go, where your confidence will go, where you'll get a hell of a lot more time to focus on the things that are important to you, and your personal life will be a hell of a lot better. Because at the end of the day, we live in a value-driven economy, and you get paid, you get rewarded accordingly for the amount of value that you provide. And nothing beats free and cheap more than fast and more effective. So if you can do it better and you can do it more effective, you are infinitely more valuable than anyone else out there. And what that will do is open up what you can do. You can help more people, because when shit gets bad, Like, it's going to get bad. Like, to sit there and pretend like, oh, we're going to be great. No, it's going to get bad. It's going to be a rough. We're in for, as Game of Thrones say, winter is coming. We're in for some shit with COVID and the vaccines and all this kind of shit. That's out of your control. You can control what's in front of you, how you show up, how you help people, and really how you get your own shit together in your personal life. There's a great opportunity for growth during these troubled times that are coming up. So that's all I got. I just wanted to end this podcast and really just thank all of you. You know, there's so much just bullshit and nonsense in the world, and these self-proclaimed gurus selling all this nonsense and stuff that doesn't really work and quick fixes and all that. And I struggle sometimes because at the end of the day, I truly want to solve the pain pill epidemic, you know, by helping people that are injured and in pain get properly educated and informed on their injuries and get access to quality hands-on soft tissue treatment. And the best in the world at doing that are massage therapists, and they have the best hands, the best feel in the entire world. They're even fucking close to chiropractors, physical therapists, and orthopedic surgeons. And the reason I'm doing this and I'm making this content and sharing it and just showing up every week and helping you just understand that you can be so much better. You can be on a different level than everyone else, because I need your help. I need your help in helping get this care to more people, because the fentanyl overdoses are up, the pain pill overdoses are up, and something needs to change. And we have a duty and obligation to get this care to more people, because if we don't, it's just going to get worse. So this is just my plea to you to come along on the journey. Come become a part of the soft tissue revolution. Like, when I say that shit in the intro, like, I'm not making it up. It's like, yeah, you can make $100,000 per year and you can work 20 hours or less per week. Imagine what your life would look like and what your business would look like and how many more people you would be able to help, because you're not stuck. You're not just stuck just doing the same thing, selling your time for money. So yeah, I really do think you should come take one of my seminars. I think they're fucking awesome. I think they're better than anything else out there. It is a true system, not just a technique. And I would love to have you come learn from me in 2022. And even if you can't come and learn from me, go get my free training. Go get it. I put so much out there because I just want people to be better practitioners and help more people. This isn't about money for me. It really isn't. I can be honest with you. This isn't about money. I would do this shit for free. I totally would. I would do this shit for free. The reason I charge for my courses and seminars is to hold you accountable so that you invest in it. But I want to help more people, and I want you to come along that journey. I appreciate you guys this year for sticking with me, following the content, giving me support, giving me ideas. And for all the people that came and took my courses or coached with me and trained with me in 2021 that are better versions of themselves, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me that you're willing to think about doing things differently, think outside the box, and just become a better version of yourself. So make 2022 something that you're going to crush, and don't get sucked into the bullshit that everyone else out there is going to try to get you into. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. If you want help on the path to being able to double your income, all while working 50% less and being taken seriously as a healthcare provider, I have some great resources for you. Number one, get access to our free training modules and introduction to my system, the Peak Method. Number two, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Soft Tissue Revolution. Links to all of this can be found in the show notes. Lastly, if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star review and share it with others that you know it could help.